idol for many generations. He's had a hard life with a lot of suffering, but he always managed to be the hero. Yes, Sylvester Stallone's Rambo is a legendary character, an icon who is one of the longest living on the big screens. Even though he didn't impress us a lot with his last appearance, he deserved our attention. And even though the last movie was called Last Blood, we can always expect more from him. Here's what we know about the continuation of the Rambo saga. Let's start with a quick recap of what happened in the 2019 Rambo movie. With 5 cinematic appearances in the last 40 years, John Rambo is surely one of the greatest in movie history. After the battle in the Vietnam forest and Afghanistan, then saving Christian missionaries from genocide in Burma, the military veteran finally came home 3 years ago. Sylvester Stallone had hundreds of roles throughout his career, but the ones that will stay living even after him will always be Rambo and Rocky. The saga of the Vietnam veteran grossed over $819 million all around the world, which is a respectable number, mostly because it was managed with a budget of only $200 million. The first movie was released in 1982 under the name First Blood, and the last one hit the theaters on September 20th, 2019. Even though the name was Last Blood, everybody agrees that this is not the way to end a legendary franchise like this one. Fans had big expectations, but as always, with big expectations, also big disappointments happen. And the last Rambo appearance was exactly that. I'll try to make a quick recap of the story just to remind you how the action went. Last Blood was generally criticized for the lack of story in it, and also for the poor graphic violence. And that wasn't all, as the movie was accused of racism against Mexico and the Mexican people. The movie didn't even manage to double what was spent on filming. With a budget of only $50 million, Rambo 5 grossed $91 million worldwide. However, it's always good to see Stallone back in action, and his comeback as Rambo was the only bright spot in the movie. And maybe fans weren't impressed at all, but the movie did have some success in one place, the Golden Raspberry Awards, where it got 8 nominations in 2020. Here's how it went. Rambo is back at home in his ranch house, where he's taking care of his adopted family, Maria and her granddaughter Gabrielle. He also spent his time training horses, sitting on the wooden chair in front of the house, and hitting that like button below the video right now. No, really, except for the previous things. He's taking too many pills to cope with the post-traumatic stress disorder that he faces. Everything seems quiet in his seemingly retired days, until one day, Gabrielle decides to go to Mexico to find her long-lost father. Even though John is trying to stop her by telling her that Mexico is a dangerous place to go alone, she doesn't listen. And once she crosses the border, she will be kidnapped by some Mexican thugs led by Hugo and Victor Martinez. These guys deal with sex trafficking, and Gabrielle will become their victim. But here comes Rambo to the rescue. Well, he won't succeed the first time because he will be badly beaten by the mafia members. He will be left by the road to die. But luckily, he will be rescued by Carmen, a journalist, who will find him lying injured. After healing the wounds, Rambo makes a second attempt to rescue his niece. And this is the most difficult moment in the film that left no one indifferent. Just a few moments after John takes Gabrielle into the car, she will pass away. Her tragic death will not be unavenged, as Rambo prepared a warm welcome with many traps for the flock of Mexican bandits who will attack his ranch. One by one, he'll eliminate them. And finally, it will be Martinez's turn. I don't want to spoil anything for you if you want, but you still haven't seen the movie. Yes, it's not a masterpiece at all, but it's always good to see a legendary character back in action once again. So I'd personally recommend you not to miss it. In the last 3 years, there were many speculations that Rambo died at the end of the movie, and that Last Blood will be really the last one in the series. But also, there were rumors about ways how the saga can continue. As there is no official announcement for a 6th film, we can't speculate with dates when it will happen. But as things stand right now, there's a really good chance that it will come in the coming years. The idea for the 5th film in the franchise started back in 2008, and yet it took more than a decade for the movie to hit the theaters. Adrian Grunberg was the director, and the shooting took place in Bulgaria. Many would think that Stallone is too old, but he's quite busy. even in the 8th decade of his life. He already finished the first season of the newest hit series Tulsa King, and he's now very busy preparing the 4th movie for The Expendables. Also, Stallone will appear once again in the next installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So, as you can see, he still has a lot of energy. And if this isn't proof of what he's capable of, then you still believe that Rambo 6 will never happen. Let's be patient for the time being right now and wait for a little more time. Before I tell you in what direction the saga of Rambo can continue, let's talk a little about who could appear in the next movie. Well, this depends mostly on what kind of story will bring the next possible movie. We still have to find out if it will be a sequel or a prequel, or maybe a TV series. Of course, there are a lot of theories that are circulating among the fans right now. I'll tell you the most interesting one. Remember how it was said that we will meet Rambo's brother in the 2008 movie? He was supposed to be a local sheriff, and smash that subscribe button and hit that notification bell below the video right now. No, really. Except for that there were also some rumors that we'll see the brothers together in action in Last Blood. But nothing of this has happened so far. What fans are suggesting is that the best guy who could portray Rambo's brother is Dave Bautista. These two already worked together in Guardians of the Galaxy, and fans think they could be the best duo. Of course, this is one of the places the franchise needs to improve, since we saw too many unknown faces in the previous movie, and a Rambo movie surely deserves much more movie stars in it. The biggest question, as I said, is how the story will go in the next possible movie. If we consider the recent Stallone statement about this, then Rambo 6 could be a prequel story. The actor agrees that Last Blood wasn't the best way to end the 40-year movie franchise, and this is what he said to Hollywood Reporter. You drop the young Rambo there, and he's this outgoing guy, football captain, and then you see why he becomes Rambo, Stallone said. And he also added that he has some great ideas for this purpose, ideas that will explore Rambo's backstory and it will bring the character to his grounded roots. But he's also added that nobody knows who, wants to make a modern-day story where Stallone passes the torch. These are some of the options, but it seems there's still a possibility that the idea for a TV series can be back on the table. In 2015, Fox closed a development deal for Rambo New Blood, a series that should be produced by Stallone himself. The series was supposed to follow Rambo and his son, but the idea is still waiting to see light at the end of the tunnel. If you do a little deep research, you'll find the series name on IMDb, where there is still a description that the project is in development. As you can see, there are plenty of options and ideas, but nothing is official right now, and there's nothing else to do except wait until we find out more information. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.